Well, my first experience with that, really, since born and raised in America, didn't really experience it too much as a teenager. But as a young adult, I got a flight attendant job in Saudi Arabia. And I was told before I even entered the country I couldn't bring a Bible in or anything with a cross on it. I was a Christian, so that was kind of a big deal for me. And actually just smuggled it in. But when I got there, things kind of got worse. As in our training, we were told we couldn't make eye contact with men, that we had to cover, we had to wear these, it was just easier to wear these big robe things with this big black, so we had to be covered to our wrists and down to our ankles. And so instead of trying to find clothing that would be appropriate for that in the desert, they just had these big black robes and we had to wear them every time we went out. And we were told if we rode a public bus, we had to sit in the back. And it was separated. There was a panel that divided the women in the back from the men in the front. And we were told, even on flights, when things would get a little more toward the Western world, that we still couldn't question what a man told us. We were just to nod politely and move on if we had a problem with anything. So that was a little weird for me. I didn't. I was a young girl from America, and I didn't like that. And but it was just an interest. I knew it was a cultural thing, so I went along with it. But it was I transferred out to London base as quick as I could, so I wouldn't have to be in country very much.
So I would say I grew up in Texas, where it's a very kind of male-dominated area, and it's also where I lived. Actually, white people were the minority. So being a white woman in a male-dominated kind of area, as well as where the area was predominantly Mexican-American, you would face discrimination kind of on a regular basis. Not really just more where people treated you different because they made assumptions about you just because of the color of your skin or because you were a woman. So.
I don't feel I could change anything. It was Saudi Arabia was a country that they're ruled by their religion, and it wasn't my choice. I was a visitor in their country, and I was pretty happy with the way I handled myself. I felt like I was polite and abided by what rules I could, and things like I snuck my Bible in, so I still had what I wanted and needed to be who I was. But I didn't go to jail while I was there, so that was good. But I felt like I handled it as best I could under the circumstances. It was a good experience to learn about another culture and try to live in another culture and try to get along with people and still be yourself. So it was overall a good experience, just kind of weird, especially the beginning.
I wouldn't change anything just because it's who I am. So I don't really think that, and I think that you learn from instances like that people treat you a certain way, and I think you just learn from it and you don't want to act like the way they acted, so.
I feel like I'm living that revenge. I have a good life and I live in a free country, and I pretty much lived my life the way I wanted to. So it was not something that harmed me. If anything, it made me appreciate who I am and what I have.
So I think basically I actually worked in an oil company, and I was a runner, which basically meant that I did errands and kind of anything that the bosses wanted us to do. And even though I did a whole lot more work than my male counterparts, they were actually paid more than I was, and the bosses actually relied on me to be the most dependable and reliable. So I wouldn't really necessarily get revenge, I don't think, because I just think that it's just kind of how it was, kind of how it is, that sometimes you might know more than someone who's making more money than you, but as long as you still do your best, that's fine. I would say back to college. I don't think I've been discriminated against as a professional, to be honest with you.